All right, it's Nick Shell, the internet receding hairline guy. Just walked out of a big tree, didn't I? So, you know me, I'm not the best at responding back on the comments anymore. I've got too many subscribers now where I can't keep up with it. But what I am trying to do, and maybe this is actually more important, is that I am trying to make videos to respond to new comments that maybe address something I haven't really talked to specifically in detail about. So today I did get a comment from a 16-year-old boy, and he said, Nick, I don't know what to do. I looked at your hairline, and let's just be, look at that, see? Nick, I looked at your hairline, of course I'm 35. He said, but at 16, I have a hairline just like yours, already at 16, even though, you know, I'm 19 years older. Is that how much older I am than this guy? But he has the same hairline as me. He says, so I have the same hairline as you, plus I've got a big nose, and I've got a long face. So, any tips? That's what he said in this comment. Well, in all sincerity, I'm here to help. So let's address this. And if you're asking for my expertise on it, we'll talk about it. And I'm trying to relate as much as I can from my own life to try to make sure this isn't anything sugar-coated or trying to make anybody feel good about themselves. This is what would I do in this situation based on the information I know now, right? That's the perspective I'm looking at. Well, first of all, having a big nose, let me see if I can, I don't have a big nose. What's funny about my nose is, it is crooked. You can see here's my nose and here's my teeth. They don't match. It's because my nose is crooked pretty bad. I don't know what happened. I was never aware that my nose was broken, but it definitely grew in crooked. So I think it can make my nose look bigger based on what side you see my nose on. So, but even with that, it's funny because if anything, I just don't see how having a big nose as a guy is a bad thing. If you have a small nose, if you have a little tiny little pug looking nose that just is really small and doesn't stick out, to me, if anything, that might not be as masculine. But a big nose, to me, that's a masculine trait. I don't think that's even an insult at all. You know, I mean, look at me. I mean, I'm part Italian. So for me, growing up with family Italian members, that's not a bad thing. It's normal. It's you're proud of it, right? So what I would say to you first on the big nose thing that you say about yourself, I just don't see how that's going to set you back. It's a masculine trait. And that's the overall theme of my advice to you today, is that we're going to look at this from a masculine perspective. We're not going to look at it as, oh no, what do I do on my hair? Okay, because that's not going to solve the actual problem, right? I'm looking at the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is beyond you having hair or not, and beyond this other stuff. So I feel like I've already solved your first problem. If your nose is big, yeah, embrace it. I mean, big nose on a guy, masculine trait. That's a good thing. Strong nose, strong man, right? Okay. As far as the next thing, the long face. Now, I don't know. I don't know if I have a long face or not. Let's assume I do or don't. Either way, I'm not sure how that all works, but we all have different faces. I mean, you could say, well, Nick, I've got a round face. I've got a heart-shaped face, whatever kind of face you have. Ultimately, I don't think that's really the issue either, because that you can have good-looking people with any kind of, whether it's a long face or short face or round face. That's only, I think, peripheral compared to really the real issue that you're feeling here, and that is that at age 16, you have the same hairline as me. Okay, and I get it. That's the issue that cuts the deepest, that hurts the most right there, because you're only 16, you know, and it's easy for me to say at age 35, well, it'll be okay. Well, you know, I told you, I'm never going to sugarcoat anything. I'm your mentor. I'm 19 years your mentor. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. The chances are, and the guy mentioned too in his video, or in his comment, that his dad's bald too. So, I mean, again, I'm not a sugarcoater. I'm a truth speaker. So therefore, yes, you're probably going to lose most of your hair by the time you're 25, okay? And if you needed someone to say that out loud, I just said it. And I'm not saying that without compassion. You know, and here's the thing. Would you prefer to have a full head of hair by the time would you want to have as much hair as I still have at 35? Sure you would. You probably won't, but that's okay, because we want to look at the real issue of that is. And why are you fearing losing your hair. I mean, what's the disadvantage there? And I want to do basically probably a separate video on this later, but what's the fear? And I think I'm looking back to when I was 16 and thinking, man, what if I went bald by the time I was 25 and I'd have to shave my head? Well, I mean, that is the reality. You know, I definitely do not endorse any surgeries, creams, lotions, or potions. I believe just do it natural and let nature take its course. But as far as this goes, it's a matter of embracing this. So for you that made this video for me, or made this comment, so I'm making this video for you, here's what we're looking at. You're probably going to be the guy that in college, you know, you're 20 years old. You may lose so much that you decide, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and go Vin Diesel now, you know, or down to a #1 guard or whatever it is that you want to do to feel comfortable with. And that's okay. And here's why. Here's why I think that I'm able to speak truth but still be positive to you today. And that is this. Whether or not you realize it, you're not judged on your looks. You're not judged on, does this guy look like he should be part of One Direction? Does he have a full head of hair? That's not how people are going to be judging you in these years to come for the rest of your life as a man, which is 16, you're not legally a man yet, you're still a boy. And which I understand that here you are looking more like a man than when you're a boy. I get that, and I have compassion, but here's what we're looking at. Your future is going to be a society in which people judge you on masculinity and you being a grown-up. That's what they're going to judge you on. They're not judging you on your hair. Will they notice? Sure, they'll notice. Do they care? No. And what it's about is it's about confidence, and it's about masculinity. When they see a guy who embraces his hair loss, even at a young age, you appear to be taller, more confident, more in control of the situation. You've accepted your fate, and you realize that ultimately that head of hair didn't really get you any further in life. What got you further in life is your confidence, your ability to embrace these attributes about yourself. So let's review that again. So you got a big nose? Good, masculine. So you got a long face? Sure, we all do to some degree. Some of us have other kinds of faces. It's okay, because what matters most is you're embracing your hair loss and you're making the most of it. You're not even laughing it off. You're celebrating. You're broadcasting it. That if you need to shave your hair off, then you do it, and you'll be the guy with the shaved head, but you'll be the guy that owns it. You'll be the guy with confidence on that. So I wish it was easier. I wish there was something more simple that I could say to you today, because I know that's a lot to take in as a 16-year-old. I want to close with this. I want to remind you that just because I'm predicting that if you have my hairline at 16, that you probably will have most of your hair lost by 25. I do predict that. There's always the chance I could be wrong. But either way, here's how we're in the same boat. You and I both have the same fate, and that is we're not gonna die with full heads of hair, right? We're gonna, as we get old, we're gonna be the guys that are at least half bald. You might as well shave it at that point. You get to a certain point where you realize, okay, I'm better off just shaving it, and that's a personal decision. But it just starts earlier for some than others, and it's a matter of what point in our life we embrace this truth. For you at age 16, yeah, that's pretty young to have to go ahead and embrace that. You know, and for me, I've embraced it in my mid-30s, and I didn't have to when I was younger. But yet I sort of lived in fear to a certain degree, thinking, am I going to be the guy that loses my hair by the time I'm 25? See, I was worried about that. But maybe you are that guy, and if you embrace it now, you're already further along in life psychologically than I ever was up until a couple years ago. So if there's a bright side, that's it. Let me know if you have more questions or comments. I'm actually here to help, not tell you what you want to hear, but maybe what you need to hear that's going to be actually helpful to you. I'm Nick Shell, the internet receding hairline guy.